Part 1. The Quiet Man. In a quiet town tucked away in the countryside, there lived a man named Salih. He was simple, soft-spoken, and barely noticed by others. He wasn't famous, wealthy, or outspoken. In fact, most people didn't even know much about him. But Salih had a secret. Every morning, long before the sun rose, he would go to the mosque. After praying in silence, he would quietly clean the prayer area. He dusted the windows, straightened the prayer rugs, wiped down the walls, and picked up any trash. Then, before anyone else arrived, he would leave, unnoticed. The imam would often find the mosque clean and fresh, wondering aloud, "Who's doing all this?" The congregation had no idea either. No one saw him. It was like the work was done by an angel, but Salih never said a word, because he didn't want anyone to know. He only wanted one to see it: Allah. Part 2. The Unseen Ones. Salih's home was a small, single-story house near the mosque. He lived alone. No family, no children, no visitors. He survived on a modest pension, occasionally buying sweets for children in the neighborhood or running errands for the elderly. But truth be told, people rarely noticed him. In the age of followers and likes, Salih had neither: no recognition, no fame. He chose to live not in the spotlight of people's praise, but in the light of sincere intention. Part 3. The Day of the Flood. One autumn morning, the town was hit by a sudden flood. Heavy rain poured all night, rivers overflowed, and streets disappeared beneath the water. Even the mosque was damaged, the prayer hall submerged and unusable. Everyone was busy saving their own homes. In the chaos, no one thought of Salih. But Salih's small house had also been flooded. Trapped and weakened by age, he couldn't escape. For days, no one came. Until one child, passing by, asked, "Why haven't we seen Salih's uncle lately?" That question led to a rescue team breaking into his home. They found him weak and ill, barely conscious. He was rushed to the hospital. Part 4. A Silent Prayer. In the hospital, Salih's condition was critical. His lungs had filled with water and his body was frail. That night, in the darkness of the ICU, he lifted his trembling hands in prayer, and from his heart these words escaped his lips: "Ya Allah, for years I cleaned your house, not a soul knew, not a soul saw. I never wanted anyone's praise, I only wanted your pleasure. If this is my final night, take me as someone you are pleased with." Part 5. A Dream and an Awakening. That same night, the imam of the mosque had a dream. In it, a radiant figure appeared and said, "You were wondering who kept your mosque clean every morning. It was a servant of Allah. He worked in silence for the sake of no one but his Lord. Now that servant has returned to his master." The next morning, after Fajr prayer, the imam told the congregation about the dream. The mosque fell silent. Then one of the children said quietly, "I once saw Salih's uncle leaving the mosque very early, holding a broom. I think it was him." Word spread quickly. A group from the community rushed to visit Salih, but it was too late. Salih had already returned to his Lord, peacefully, hands still in the position of dua, a faint smile on his face. Part 6. The Real Story of Salih. His funeral was small, quiet, just like his life. But for those who knew what had happened, it was a funeral unlike any other. People wept, not because they had lost a man, but because they had just discovered the worth of a soul they had overlooked for years. Salih had lived a life of hidden worship. Never did he speak on a stage. Never did he receive applause. He simply picked up a broom in the early morning and did what he could sincerely. Message and closing. Innamal A, mālu, Binniyyāt. Dear listeners, the Prophet Muhammad said, "Actions are judged only by their intentions, and every person shall have what they intended." Bukhari, Hadith 1. Salih's actions were simple, but his intention was magnificent. We live in a world that values being seen, but Allah values what is unseen: the sincerity, the quiet deeds, the hidden worship. So the lesson is this: don't worry about who sees you. Worry about who you are doing it for. For Allah sees the hands that clean without reward, the tears that fall in sujood when no one's around, the hearts that long for Him even in silence, because sometimes a man with a broom earns more reward than a man with a crown, if only his intention is pure. So live for Him, act for Him, because if He knows, that's enough.